Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to what is going to be an absolutely beautiful day in Scotland. So picking up from the last episode where we completely got the paint wrong, as you can see we've got the panels outside drying because we've gone over both of them again using a different type of thinners, a different type of clear coat, but the same paint, and the colour match is looking a lot better. But they're going to have about another day or so to dry fully before we can fit them to the car. So they should now be good to go. So what we're going to do in today's episode is we're going to get the bonnet off, we're going to put the new bonnet on, build up the front bumper, and we're also going to finally, because I've been going on about it for about 4 videos now, and it's about time we got the dash out of this car and get the dash from this car fitted into the red car. So I'm not really sure what order we're going to do all this in, so let's just crack on and see how far we get before the music runs out. But before we do that, my daughter really wants to say hi because apparently she wants to be YouTube famous.
Hello.
Kids nowadays. Anyway, let's crack on and see what we can get done. Well, we're definitely making progress. Got the glove box removed and everything down that side. Got the stereo and all that stuff out as well. Steering wheel off, tack out, and even got the center console out. And the only bit that really took me a huge amount of time to figure out was these 2 plugs here. And that plug down there. Because they are the oddest plugs I've ever seen. They took ages to try and figure out. So if you're ever in the position where you've got to take out an Astra J dashboard, let me know and I'll try and explain to you how to get those clips out. And I tell you what, taking the dash out of a more modern day car versus the dashboards I've taken out in the past, wow, they're more complicated. But the good thing about Vauxhall, every single nut and bolt so far has been a 7mm. As you can see, there's a couple of 10s floating around the place, but predominantly 7mm. So what we'll do now is we'll crack on again, see how much more we can take apart. I'm actually now starting to wonder if I take out the big bolts here, 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 there's one over there and there's one hiding in there somewhere where the earths are. I'm wondering if this plastic dashboard, I'll actually probably come out quite easily and leave the main structure, which is all the metal bits you can see down here. They run all the way up and round. I'm wondering if they'll stay in place and I can just take the whole plastic off. But that's probably wildly too optimistic, and this will probably take way longer than I think it's going to. But let's try that first, see what happens, and hopefully luck will be on our side. And if that doesn't work, what we'll do is we'll just keep cracking on, taking off bit by bit by bit until this dashboard gets out of here. Well, I wasn't actually far wrong with my guess. 10mm bolt in there, 10mm bolt around there somewhere, a couple of 10s around there, 10 in there, I think there was a 10 in there, can't be 100% sure on that one. And then I had to take these two trims off here, and that was just to give the dashboard enough wiggle room to get it out. And you obviously saw me taking off the steering stocks, but that was again just to get the dashboard up and out. And basically that was it. So now that this dashboard is out of the car, I've now got all that joy again, taking the dashboard out of the blue car. But it's now pretty late at night, and trying to get enough light in that car to make a half decent video is going to be nigh on impossible. And I can't imagine you want to watch the exact same footage all over again, just with a blue shade to it. So I'll take the dash out of this car just quick. And with a little sprinkle of YouTube magic, that dashboard is now going to change into the one out of the blue car. 3, 2, 1. And there we go. Brand new dash. Well, new to me. With no airbags blown, although we'll have to get rid of that GoPro mount. So the next thing we're going to do, before we put the dash in, and I say we, because my pal Davey's here with me, and he knows how to take windscreens out of cars. So the plan now is to take the scuttle panel off, the trims off, windscreen wipers off, and get the cracked windscreen out in preparation of putting that one in, because it'll be a lot easier without the dash in, because then we don't need to be as careful when we're cutting it out. And then we'll fit the new dash in, and I think after that what we'll do is get the front bumper rebuilt so that we can build up the front end, excluding the bonnet. So with that, let's crack on and see how much of that we can get done before the next song runs out. Right, so before anybody says it in the comments, I know full well that you're not meant to take out a windscreen with a Stanley knife. But unfortunately, Davey thought he'd brought his windscreen removing tool with him, but it turns out he hadn't. So we had to use the good old method of chopping out with a Stanley blade. But the windscreen's now out, and all the rubber's been trimmed back. So before we put the new windscreen in, what we'll do is, we'll get the old but new dash, and get it back in the car, so it's good to go. Because that'll give us tons of room to stick our head out of this gap if we need to. And then we'll chop the windscreen out of the blue car, and fit it into the red one. Well, we're definitely making some pretty good progress. So as you saw in that last clip, we've got the head unit in, radio, all that stuff, and it took quite a while to figure out where all the cables went. That was quite tricky. And then we've got the center console all fitted back in, got all the plastics back in, glove box back in. We also got the speakers back in, and we also got these really annoying inserts back in as well. And those bits took quite a bit longer than it looked like on camera, because they're just fiddly little things to get in. So anyway, now what we're going to do is we're going to turn our attention to this side of the car now. So we're going to get the clocks back in, all the plastics back on, steering wheel back on, airbag back in. We'll then wrap this section up as well, and that'll be the dash finished. And then what we'll do is we'll get the windscreen out of the blue one, which don't worry, I'll save you guys watching that. But instead you can watch me trying to put the windscreen back into the red car. How good does that look? Not gonna lie, I'm pretty impressed with myself. And the two reasons why I'm impressed with myself is one, I didn't break a single clip, which I'm well impressed with. And two, not a single spare bolt. How good?
Although I have probably jinxed myself, and when we plug the battery back in, the airbag's probably going to deploy and half the buttons won't work. But we'll worry about that problem when we get to it. So the next thing we need to do is get the windscreen in.
Right, so it's the next day. Windscreen's now set in place, which is absolutely awesome. And what's quite interesting, because I've never done a windscreen before, is that I thought it would take absolutely ages to remove the windscreen out the blue one, but actually with the right tools, it's actually fairly quick. The bit that takes the time is cleaning up the bond off of the windscreen that you've removed so you can apply it to the new car. Well, that's quite cool. I now know how to remove a windscreen properly and reinstall one, so that's kind of neat. So all we need to do now, and this will probably be the final part of today's video, is we need to get the final bit of sticky tape off and then rebuild all of this. And then we need to get the steering wheel and airbag back in and reapply the rear view mirror. Now in theory, all of that shouldn't take too long. Because I do these videos over multiple days, over multiple weeks, you sometimes forget where all the parts go. So anyway, with that, let's crack on, get this final bit done. Right, so that's all the trim done, rear view mirror done, and the steering wheel's back in as well. So the last thing we're going to do for this episode is we're going to connect the battery back up and hopefully everything works, but more importantly, hopefully the airbags don't deploy, because pretty much every airbag in this car has now been touched by me in some way, shape or form. So far so good. And now for one final test.
What's about this one?
I think, ladies and gentlemen, that is a pretty massive success. But one thing we are going to have to do is clear the airbag light at some point in time, because the car's still obviously registering a fault because the airbags did go off. But that's not a big deal. Although I will need to go and find somebody that has a diagnostic machine for a VXR. But hopefully that won't take too long to do. So anyway, with that, that's going to be the end of this week's episode, guys and girls. I hope you liked it. There really is only a final few things left to do to this car, which I was hoping to get done in this episode. But as always, I've run out of time. So in the last and final episode on this car, we'll get the bonnet on, get the headlights in, get the bumper all fitted up properly, We'll get the interior all nice and clean, and then get the seats back in it, and then we'll get the blue car out of the way so we can get the red one out, give it a wash, and take it for its first drive. We may also steal the discs and pads off of this car, because the front discs and pads on this one are better than the ones on the red one. And as always, I hope you're keeping well and hope you're keeping safe. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.